breath in and out. Feel the gentle vibration of 432 hertz as it harmonizes with your body and mind. I am abundant. I am abundant. I am abundant. My frequency is rising every day. My frequency is rising every day. My frequency is rising every day. It attracts abundance towards me. My high frequency attracts abundance towards me. My high frequency attracts abundance towards me. My high frequency attracts abundance towards me. I am a creator. I am a creator. I am a creator.
Char?
Yep.
You can go ahead and turn it off. It's top of the hour.
I am a creator.
Let's go full screen and welcome everybody in. I think the email says the 22nd of the master classes, and I have the 4708 right in my hands, the 8th actual written newsletter. And I just am so grateful that you would make the time to be here. I'm so grateful for this group. I want to start off with a lot of gratitude at the outset of the year. I've tried everything I could to let frequency flow work in my life today. Had an incredible 18-minute session this morning. I really tried to be as clear and uncluttered as possible as I was playing that 18-minute affirmation. And I actually incorporated something that I haven't really tried with this kind of, I guess, deliberateness with incorporating the awe meditations of Wayne Dyer. And so on the exhale, when she's asking us to breathe, you exhale with an awe. And you get that vibration, that frequency, that energy. You get that flow. You get that sound. You get that harmony. And I just can't thank everybody enough for being here and investing in yourself. I mean, $1.50 a day or whatever it costs to get the newsletter every month. And to be able to come on here and to think about a group that you harmonize with. And I'm sorry for those that couldn't be here with trips and health and meetings and all kinds of things that are going on in the world. But I just want to say, I got an email today, and I thought this guy was reading my notes for tonight. So I'm just going to read you some of his thoughts about when you find the right group. That kind of forces you to level up. It holds you accountable. And we found that in our research, that an accountability partner, an accountability team is vital to leveling up to your highest standard. It refuses to let you play small. And I've heard people say that before, but we want to play our very best. And so when I did that 18-minute affirmation this morning, I had incredible breath work. I had incredible gratitude. I could hear the words and the sounds. I could feel it all. I was so present. And today I got a phone call from the lady in the book, Amanda, and she says, yeah, like in your book, when I talk about being present and prioritizing. And I see Ben Ward on the broadcast. We'll get there in a minute, but Ben's got a neighbor, and we've got a mutual friend named Amanda down there in San Clemente. But here's what ultimately comes out of this. Ideas that compound, right? We know that ideas can be life-changing and you only need one, but they need to compound. And the idea that you executing on them should accelerate your life and the ideas. And then when that happens, we get emails like and text messages from you that the trajectory of your life and your business, your frequency, your flow, all of these things take this hockey stick look to it, right? The trajectory changes, and it's just an amazing thing when we can bring that all together. And so, good evening and welcome. Some of you will be on chat. Some of you will be on the full video, and I just couldn't be more grateful. And I really thought of that when I went back to the very first newsletter. For those of you that have from the beginning, the very first newsletter, which was on gratitude, and gratitude attracts miracles. And it's a miracle that some of you are here tonight. It's a miracle that I'm here tonight. Some of you have dealt with some amazing things. You've overcome. You've done incredible things. We're going to have an incredible hour here tonight. And I just thought, I see Tanya holding that coin up right there. And she is a magnet for miracles. Look at David's got his. I know a lot of you. Brenda's got hers. It's fantastic. Marcy, great to see you. I see so many people here. Let's just start off with this idea. What are we feeling in our gratitude levels this morning? By the way, I should invite all of you on my Thursday morning. It's only, I think there's like 470 people in the group or something. Miracle Morningside. Darcia Dexter was a guest a few months ago, and she gave me this rock last year, Believe in Miracles. And I read this scripture in Exodus today that we want to be, are you guys ready for this? Still as a stone. And I thought, that's a great way to start your 18-minute affirmation video, to be still as a stone. I want to hear from you. Let's take a few minutes. Tell us about the start to your year. Where's the gratitude? What would you say to this group here tonight about how you're feeling?
Can I say something?
Ben, I was going to call on you in a few minutes, but go.
I mean, I'm just thinking about what I'm feeling grateful for is Dan McCormick. I wrote it on the thing in the chat. This guy's a living legend. He's alive and he's a legend. And what was going through my mind is the I don't know how many tens of thousands of people that have poured into you, that have made you who you are, that is so successful. Forget finances. Yeah, that's there. So successful in your life, living an intentional life, and how much you've poured into creating that intentional life. And the fact that we get to be here with you is I'm just super grateful.
Well, I know dinner's probably on the table for you in San Clemente, but I just thank you very much for those kind words. We've had some very unique interactions that we'll get into later. We're going to especially be having Ben back on when his next book that is in process has just got me literally jumping out of my seat. It is going to be literally, there's few books that I know that are in the making that have me this excited. So please carry on. Who else wants to express some form of gratitude? Where are you at the beginning of this year? I went back and listened to last month's masterclass, and your feedback was unbelievable. Thank you. Please, it's your time.
I was fortunate a couple of weeks ago, Dan and Ben, to have lunch with both of you, and I was just overcome with gratitude because I thought, oh my goodness, the things that we were talking about and the information that you were both sharing was just, it blessed my life huge. I walked out of there on cloud nine.
And a full stomach.
Yes. Yes, it was awesome.
Ben bought us lunch. We're grateful for that.
Oh, yeah.
Anybody else?
I got one. So
Please.
Last year, I played golf maybe 4 or 5 times the whole year. Well, actually 6 times because my brother came down for Thanksgiving. This year already, I have played 4 times, and I'm scheduled to play in 2 tournaments next week.
You're getting out there and being one with nature.
Yeah, buddy.
Love that. Thank you. Anybody else? What are we feeling?
I'm grateful.
I would add that I'm.
Oh, go ahead.
Q, go ahead. I missed.
No, ladies first.
Okay, I missed who was that?
It was me.
Shar?
I think
Go ahead.
I don't know if hopefully I'm not lagging. Hi. I'm grateful for this community for watching and listening to everyone as they are on their own journeys of leveling up and in more success and whatnot, but not in a comparison kind of way, but just in like the sheer gratitude of being able to share those successes with you guys and then take from it and implement in own life and whatnot. So pretty grateful for that. Thanks, guys.
Thank you. We have business people on the screen. We have people that I've never met in person. We have people here. Please, Brenda, go ahead.
So last fall, my siblings and I had a major health challenge with my younger brother, and my oldest sister had died from the same kind of cancer. And I'm very grateful that there is the science now to help treat my brother and extend his life, hopefully until there is a cure. But myself, I base my health on holistic ways, but I know that sometimes we have to rely on the science that doctors have.
Yeah.
So
Beautiful. Beautiful. Anybody else before we press forward here after we share gratitude and we played the frequency audio? We'll have to work on how do we get that to be a little clearer next time, but I wanted really to resonate. I wanted the 18 minutes for me this morning to be high frequency. My frequency is always rising. And so if we go to these first slides here, we're just basically ushering in this new year. We're, what are we, 20 days in, 22 days in. And it's the year I thought for systems, and we're going to have some fun tonight. This should leave you with a high trajectory, a trajectory that is moving, a frequency that is flowing. This should be a really uplifting, collaborative effort, if you will. If you go to that next slide, I put a picture of this because I often refer back to it on, if we go to the slide number 3, the year of gratitude. I just can't get enough of really feeling that today. My own health, the relationships, the friendships, my wife, my family. It was great to see my daughter in Provo today on FaceTime with my daughter and say, Dad, I love your newsletter. That's so good. It's on my husband's desk. It's for his life, his business, his systems, the whole deal. So we're trying to make a really positive impact on as many people as we can. And let's go to slide number 4 here. And I want to look at this idea of quality questions bring out quality answers. And they don't always have to show up right away. I loved how Stephen Covey would talk about making your mission statement and giving it time. Well, when you ask quality questions, what will we do differently this year? And so I wanted to start with a couple of the questions that I asked me, Dan. Am I playing the long game? Am I acting for my future self? Am I really looking at this game that is played called life that has this incredible book that really 3 years ago, November maybe, had a huge impact in my life? And it's because this incredible New York Times bestselling author asked over and over in this book, what are you doing today that will have value 10 years from now? And so that's why I look at the playing the long game. Ryan Smith, who is the owner of the Utah Jazz, the founder of Qualtrics, the owner of the hockey team in Utah, also he just loves golf. I see him in the gym up at my place in Idaho. And he was on a podcast recently, and he says, we really look at, are we playing the long game? And I thought that was really, really great because my friend Nathan Ricks would look at the long game. And I could obviously put that at the top of the list here. And then I put, what am I doing today that would be rewarding me those 10 years later? So this book called Perennial Seller is a invaluable read for me. You don't have to be writing a book. Who he's writing to is the art of making and marketing. It's the art of making and marketing work that lasts. And so it would be my hope that the newsletter has a lasting and a trajectory changing impression on your life. I think all of us could filter for higher and ask better questions, what will you do differently this year? Let's go full screen and see if anybody wants to chime in. What do you feel you will do differently this year?
I'll have a consistent routine.
Routine. Yeah, you've
Consistency
mentioned
being
that,
the
Q,
key.
that you were thrown for a loop. You've mentioned that a few times on the consistency. And tonight, I think the newsletter and the dialogue will help that. I love that. Thank you. Anybody else?
I don't know if my background is right side up or not, but
Yes.
Christians on Purpose, coming to a church near you.
Yeah, it's your mission. You're going. Anybody else?
Well, in
Hey,
my
Dan.
business, we're diving deep into systems, and the duplication of the systems is really what I'm going to focus on. So the training of others through that, and getting to be a master of it myself.
Love it. Marcy, I think you took it off mute if I jumped there. There you go.
I was just going to say I'm trying to build some better systems. This was really helpful in my business, that my own business that I do off the side of my desk, but it's been kind of hard. So I might pick up the one book you recommended to help me out with that. And then I think the other thing is just like in my real job doing just being more present. It's been really fun. This whole month I'll actually end up seeing in person all like 1,000 people that report up through me off across several counties.
Wow.
And so it's just been really nice because it's been an hour and a half of presence with them and just investing in our culture and the people. And I think that's super important to build the systems and business and trust that we need to do. So we're seeing a lot of really good momentum with that. And then I think the other thing is just the verse kind of that spoke to me is like, I'm strong. Sorry if my daughter is telling me it's like 9:30 here, so it's telling me to tell my daughter to go to bed. But we have snow here, you guys. We haven't been to school in 5 days, by the way.
Wow.
So yeah, it's like -5. So anyways, we just God is strong when I am weak. And I actually I've never done this before, but one thing I'm grateful for is I did a 7-day fast, and it was purely for spiritual reasons, not health or anything. And it was the most amazing thing, I think, one of the most amazing things I've ever done.
Wow.
And it was just to start off my year thinking, how can how can he be strong for me in my weakness? And I think it was just like a good physical way to like start off with that mindset.
Love that. Boy, touching base with 1,000 people, systematizing your life and business. Beautiful. Anybody else?
Hey, Dan.
Go for it.
I had a problem with doing too many things at once in my last year, and I'm trying to focus on less things and getting them done rather than scattering so many things I want to do. I think it's going to be more helpful for me to do that. And I think the stroke actually helped me to focus on less things. And I think that will help me in the new year.
How many can relate to that? Show of hands, doing less things, finishing more things, right? Marcy, I think you sent a text out last month that, I finished more things this year. I am a finisher. We have the coin to remind us that we're finishers. I remember conversations with several of you doing the 18-minute affirmation video, the work that went into it. I've really tried to figure out, okay, if I'm going to go deeper, if I'm going to go stronger, if I'm going to get more out of this, if I'm going to get the body, all the benefits that come from meditating, then it has to be the uncluttered mind. It was the second newsletter for those that have joined since that time. The newsletter was called Doing the Deep Work by me, but the book and the basics of that title comes from Cal Newport when he literally put his phone away, literally for months as professor at Georgetown, to be able to do the deep work, to be able to go where he'd never gone. And I think all of you that take that counsel that Drew just shared, I think that's wisdom for us all. All right, let's look at this. if we're going to save yourself time, energy, money, and stress, this is good. Yes, Ben, thank you. Essentialism by our good friend up there in he's Santa Barbara area, Ojai. Greg McCown, however he says his last name. Save yourself time, energy, money, and stress. When I'm going to give several different examples in my life of systems. Now, I think Elon, and I apologize for always quoting Elon, but I think he said that one of the worst things you can do is try to optimize something that doesn't need to be or deserve to be optimized systematically. In other words, he's always looking for ways to go beyond, to make it faster, simpler, more effective. And so when we think about this term, how does this strike you about your life and systems? Anybody have a comment on that? I want to curious when you got the newsletter, if you thought, was there something you thought, wow, yeah, I could be more systematized in this area of my life, in this business part, in this whatever. So anybody, please chime in. When you read the newsletter, what popped?
I have to say, when I heard you say last month that this newsletter was going to be on systems, I just wondered where it was going to take me. And all of a sudden, before I got the newsletter, I became aware of my systems. I wasn't even aware that I had these systems sometimes. I mean, the basic one, and Drew, I totally relate, because I have to slow down, and I'm like, how can I go any slower? My legs feel like stones. Like, I'm so still. I have to move, and trying to move, but I have to do it slowly and mindfully. So I'm developing a new system of what's working for me, and I'm going slowly with it. And when things aren't working, I turn into that co-creator.
I love that.
Like, where's this? Just keep asking. Okay, so what's next? And it's just becoming fun.
That's awesome.
And things that I think I shared last month, that my word for the year is freedom, and I just said, I added another P. It's free from perfectionism and performance and people pleasing and pain. And that's what I had been struggling with, is the pain. And now it's like, although I'm being told not to use the word pain, but what am I going to, I don't want to be the elephant in the middle of the room, but I'm just seeing the systems are changing that, changing my thoughts. You mentioned fasting. I've been fasting from thoughts that I, was attached to. I put my cell phone in the other room at night, like, it's just fasting from these things that aren't working in the system that I need.
Love that. Anybody else?
Hi, sorry I jumped on late. I was virtually with my team in Utah. So I was like, oh no, I got to get to this one now too. I'm not done yet for the night.
You're here. We're glad you're here. Thank you for being here. Where are you present right now?
I am in Pennsylvania.
Okay. Burr.
So it's been a long day for me. I've been on Zooms all day. So.
Okay. All right.
But for me, I have been with the newsletter. I'm still only partially done reading it. And I'll tell you, this is the weirdest thing. And this is coming out of a place of redefining myself, because I'm retired now. But then what does that look like? And who am I now that I'm retired? I was an international med spa educator. And now, even though I've been with Nu Skin a long time, I was not doing really as a business. I just loved all the people. And now it's like, all right, now who am I in all of this? And so when I got the newsletter, I took it out, and of course I'm reading the introduction first. And then I don't know if anyone's ever done this but me. I took the whole thing and put it back in the plastic sleeve. And I said, I just can't read this right now, because the redefining of myself means I have to make some changes, and I'm really comfortable and enjoying life right now. But at the same time, I know that there are other people waiting for their lives to be better. And that means me stepping outside of my comfort zone of my little cocoon and happy world. So I'm looking forward to pulling it out tonight again and
Thank you.
reading it the front to back. So that's
Well,
where I
hopefully
am.
that's fantastic. Hopefully this will give more context. And I want to go to the next slide because what you're saying, and from you to Marcy to Drew to Trish to Shar, all of us may have different businesses, may have different ideas, but I'm going to go through the different areas of life. And it was my first book that I ever read on the subject. It was just a title that I had to buy back whenever it was in the 90s or something. And that was Michael Gerber's book called The E-Myth. And then, let systems run the business and people run the systems. People come and go, but the systems remain constant. We absolutely can let systems run our business. I was taught the phrase, trust the system. Just trust the system. And so I put a couple of my examples, and here I was, a 19-year-old young man, and the founders of the company I was with at that time was called Herbalife. And we had a very simple system. It was a very different world back then. There was no, email and Zooms and all the stuff, right? And so it was a system that we were always in a hotel room doing a business meeting on Tuesday night, Thursday night, and Saturday morning was a training. And so that system evolved from a company to where every single person in the company, if they were asked, every single person, if they were asked how to do the business, they all answered the same thing. Every single leader in the company. And they always just said, trust the system. And this was my first $1 billion system. It was my wife and I's first business. It was like, how does a 19-year-old, a 23-year-old with no business background, begin building a network on a systematic approach that goes from 2 million to 10 million to 58 million, 140 million, 500 million in sales as a company, not me, as a company in just the first 5 years. It was a fun, simple system. And that was really empowering. And at times in my life, I've let myself get drawn into complexities. And when you get drawn into complexities, it becomes about you, not the system. And so one of the I think great quotes that I didn't put in the slideshow here tonight comes from another book called Systemology. And he says, I think the test is, can you build a business and leave for 30 days? How will it be doing? That's a good litmus test, if you will. And so in what was it? 1993, I had a business partner who had a company called British American, and it was a direct mail company. And we created a system to generate leads and entrepreneurs and meet people. And it wasn't as duplicatable for the masses as I wanted it to be, but it was a system of high effectiveness for short periods of time. It didn't have longevity. There was a lot of reasons for that, but it was a system that allowed me to go in 1993 from, I have it written down in one of my journals. I have a 4-year income. I think it went from 127,000, 293,000 to 623,000 in the first 3 years of income or something when I built that business. And Gary was with me in that, and some of the others were. But that was a system that took a little bit of capital. Okay. Now, when I started the newsletter, it was an aha moment because I was confused. I did not know where to go with the book. I didn't know. I knew I could do podcasts all day long. I knew I could get out there and speak and do things, and I really enjoyed that. But when you build a business with a system that has a better profitability and less wear and tear on the body, I'm all in. And so my son-in-law had called me. I was investing thousands, tens of thousands of dollars on the direction I was going to go on becoming this, conduit for awakening who I am, for the 2 words that ignite transformation. And the words that struck me this morning is, I am, right? Still as a stone, came right out of Exodus. But I met this gentleman that lives just a mile down the street from me. He's a young man, 37, 8 years old. He spent I think 60 to 70 million dollars on testing advertising on YouTube and Facebook. And I walked into his office. I said, I got to know what you do. My son-in-law says I got to meet you. And I walked into his office and he shared with me his newsletter system. He opened his computer and he showed me his green lamp system. Dan, you've done the work, you've written the book, and now don't just go bury it on Amazon and hope to sell a few hundred copies, but write a newsletter where you can engage with your audience, where you can have a monthly accountability call, where you can have people subscribing and their lives are growing together. We're all building our frequency. And he showed me his system that generates $300,000 to $400,000 a month, because he has, last I checked, I missed the call on Wednesday. I think he has 1,700 subscribers, and his newsletter is all about how to write, just about writing. And it's $97 or $99 a month. So that and the book sales and the tools and the other things he does. So that's a system that is highly specific. And so when it comes to business systems, this is something we can hang our hat on, and we got to ask ourselves, what is our business? What are we doing? Are we systematizing all of it? Comments on this screen or slide before I go to the next one. Feedback, comments.
Well, can I jump back to the last thing you were talking about system? Well, so you asked about what I thought of when we opened the letter. First, I was very, very excited because I don't have a lot of systems and I want to work on them. But I had listened to Atomic Habits back last month.
Right.
And I put it in the chat, but it says, you do not rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your systems.
So brilliant. What'd you feel when you read that?
Oh, it gave me goosebumps.
Yeah. How many? I think that's in the newsletter, right?
I don't know. I haven't finished the newsletter. Sorry.
That's okay. That's okay. You
It
guys,
that quote is in there.
it is in there?
Yep.
Okay, good. I knew. Now, any other comments? I love that one. I like that David chose to go into the chat and put it in all caps and dark color. Just pops off the screen for me, David. Good job.
Thank you. That was AI.
Oh, you're good at it.
I also love that in the quote, people come and go. It makes you realize, well, I'm not failing. I mean, people are just naturally going to come and go. Then that's not, I just keep doing the system anyway, because the people that are supposed to stay will stay, and I will grow.
And that is such an amazing comment. Think about it. Scott has 1,700 subscribers. He's probably had 500 or 1,000 cancel, right? We've had very few cancellations, and I haven't even started using his system yet in its entirety. I haven't started using it at all, other than sending the letter and marketing to the people in my newsletter, my email list and my reach. And so I haven't even done what he does yet. And we hopefully will have all the back end built out so that we can get more subscribers and make a bigger difference in people's lives. But, I just looked at the clock, so we better keep going. Is there any other quick comments on this slide? I love that from Stephanie about people coming and going. But look, it's okay. I wanted to do my health system before we went live tonight. My wife left a week ago Tuesday to go be with the grandkids while the parents were away. And I thought, okay, while she's gone, I've been a little sloppy in my diet. I've been a little bit less than all in on my workouts. I would just say that I wasn't flowing at my height. Nowhere near. And so I went and I got the salmon, I got the chicken salad, I had my food prep, and I literally know exactly what my nuance is. I know what my body needs, and I know what systems are in place for me to feel good. And so I went from 183 to 177.7 on my scale in 5 days. And all I did was cut out, here's my 4 rule for me. This is what works for me. No bread, no sugar, no eating out, and you're done by 5:30 or 6 o'clock at night. I do that and I lose a pound a day. I knew that years ago. I used to sell a product. I created this, and I didn't have very good systems in place. This would have been in 1994 or 5 or something. But I had a product called Cell Lean, CELL-LEAN. It was a whole combination of liquid drops. And it was really amazing because it was the drops that I had people on my diet that I had created to use it, and people would lose a pound a day. And I remember one of the books that I have in the corner over here, one of the great doctors mentioned that, look, 3/4 of the world's population goes to bed hungry, and so should you. And I always remembered that. And I thought, when I do that and I do my fasting, if you will, for 12 to 14 hours, then I feel great, feel lean. My workout was amazing today, right? So 100% is easier than 99%. You go all in, you're going 100% on becoming the best you are with your 18-minute affirmation video, with your reading, with your coin, with your journaling. And look, I just know that I would hate to go a day with what I now know and what I've put in to these 8 newsletters without having my binder. Comments on preparation, health. What's your nuance?
I mean,
Have what's going to make me feel better in the refrigerator instead of other things. Just don't get them.
That's right. That's exactly right. I'm a ginger cookie guy. My problem is if I eat one, I eat the whole box. I just love ginger cookies. But I went all in. I went 100% in. The ginger cookies are still in the pantry. I don't touch them. Let's go to the next slide. I love this, you guys. I'm like, what am I going to put on this slide as I give you this idea of, what system do you have for, really, how do you value relationships? I could be a lot better. But I just always turn to my Jim Rohn quote book here. Who has one of these? Let's go full screen. I want to see if anybody has one of these. This little Jim Rohn quote book. Okay? I got it. It's just so beautiful. And so I'm working on these slides and I'm working with Amanda and I'm just going, what's the perfect quote for this? And it just jumped off the page at me. And if you, let's Q, can you read this quote for us? Big booming Q voice.
I'm not seeing a quote.
Oh, at the bottom of the slide. Sorry. She can put it back up for you.
If you communicate something and you can create miracles if you have a system. I mean, that's all I don't remember the exact same thing.
That's all right. You're great.
Something like that.
Yeah, no, you nailed it. If you just communicate, you can get by. Right here it is. If you just communicate, you get by. But if you skillfully communicate, as Jim would say, you can work miracles. And so that incredible meeting, I'm with Jim Rohn, and then 1988, we're in Bermuda. Not even 100 of us, maybe 60, 70. We're on the millionaire team with Jim Rohn. And he says, what would happen to your life if all you did was reach out to 5 people a day? We didn't even have phones, guys. We didn't have contact files. We had our little black book, We had our computer spreadsheets that were mailed to us once a month of who was on our teams. And we could only see the top leaders. And so maybe someone will type that in chat. What would happen to your relationships? What's the old saying? People don't care how much you know until what?
Till they know how much you care.
They know how much you care.
How much you care. What would happen to your life if you just reached out to 5 people a day? I asked somebody the other day, how many names are in your contact file? Matter of fact, it was a Zoom class on Monday morning. I was doing a Zoom group class Monday morning, 8 a.m. And I asked Deborah, who was the leader of this particular group, I said, Deborah, go to your phone and tell me at the bottom of your phone, hit the number sign on contacts and how many names are in your phone. She says 3,300. I said, tell me how many people follow you on LinkedIn. She says 23,000. I said, are you kidding me? Your day should be filled with relationship building and opportunity offering nonstop. You see, that's the miracle. If we'll just use what's out there for us and start turning over every single stone. See that stone? It just says right there? It's just plain smooth. But if I turn it over, it's more miracles. Believe in miracles. And so, what's your relationship system? Embrace the relationship and the quality of the people that are on your journey with you. And I think you'll find more people in your funnel. If you're selling real estate, if you're doing whatever your business is, direct selling, network marketing, nutrition, fitness, weight loss, skincare, you name it. It's all out there. All right. What's our next one? Let's go to the financial system. All right. We did a couple classes on this. We did a couple of what we call bonus segments. We had a couple of the psychology of money classes. And so I thought, I know William O'Neill passed away, but what was a quote of his? And in his newspaper, it's called Investors Business Daily. Like the Wall Street Journal is complete bogus. They ought to cancel that thing compared to Investors Business Daily. It only comes out on Saturdays now because they do so much online stuff. But this is a physical newspaper, and he dedicated a section of the newspaper to positivity every single Saturday. And it was so fantastic that I only got a chance to meet him once, and I think it was like maybe late 90s. But I've never met a successful pessimist. He was such an optimist. No matter how bad things got, no matter how rough the world was, the stock market was, interest rates were, no matter how loud the political pundits were barking, he always knew that there was another incredible company starting in somebody's garage that he could invest his money in. He knew that he could find it. And so he started a newspaper on how to find those things, how to be aware of those ideas. And so I always use investors.com. I use it. I kind of leave the screen open all day long on my screen if I'm in and around my office, because he's putting the most important investment opportunities on the screen every day. He can't tell you to buy or to sell. I can't tell you to buy or to sell. I'm not here to give you financial advice. I'm just saying, what's your system? I particularly love the idea that I own shares in a company that's going to make the most humanoids in the history of the world. And to be able to own a company that's going to have, right now, Tesla has about 17% margin on a car sale, 20%, okay? But the idea of robo-taxis, somebody posted today, it just drove from New York to LA without touching the wheel. In Austin, Texas today, they started doing robo-taxi drives with no verification, no supervision. And their margins go from 17% to 80% on being robo-taxis, being the biggest Uber outlet in the world. And every one of you and I, not that I want to do it, but you can go buy this model and literally have it in your fleet. And somebody's going to go on the app and they're literally going to say, yeah, I need a robo-taxi. I need a Tesla robo-taxi, and this is my address. And you'll program it in, and the car will pull out of your driveway, and it'll go pick them up and take them to the airport, and it'll come back to you, and you'll get paid. So I'm all in on systems and financial systems, but anybody, let's go full screen if we can, Shar. Any thoughts, questions on this? Because we did talk about it on I think we had 2 bonus classes when it came to the psychology of money. Can I be helpful for anybody on the financial system? Has anyone here read his book or read his newspaper? gone to the website. Okay. It's an opportunity if you care about your money. It's an opportunity. Look at this crowd of beautiful people. Okay. When I think about all of these systems, I know when I write the newsletter and we think about your life, your age, your finances, your desire, right? Your motivating conviction that moves you to take action. It's all nuanced. It's all different. Like, it's like I told that Zoom class on Monday morning. I said, I'm going to work my business every single day at every opportune moment. But I'm probably never going to do a worldwide tour again where I'm on planes, trains, and automobiles every single week. I just don't think that's what makes my body feel good. So I have to systematize better. I have to be more effective in all of these systems. If I'm going to be better, last longer, be more aware, and be on top of my game when it comes to systems. How many of you had some thoughts so far about your own personal systems? Show of hands. Anybody care to share any thoughts about any of those?
I feel like I'm talking a lot, but I'll tell you, I'm really proud of myself for choosing to do a virtual version of the trip to Utah that I normally would take physically. But my body was not doing well because of 8 flights in a 2 week period. My body just said no more. And so I still bought the ticket like I was going, and it's very interesting because I just feel like, oh, you affirmed everything that I'm feeling is the right thing to do, because you start to doubt yourself. You're like, oh, but I like being in the room with everybody. And what I got was there was enough people there that made it feel like I was in the room. I just didn't get to give everyone hugs. That's all, you know? And so it was a really good affirmation that I'm taking care of myself with the health system and stuff. So
Good for you. I love it. Anybody else?
Yeah, I was just gonna, oh, good.
Okay. I didn't mean to cut you off, Marcy. Go ahead.
Oh, I thought someone else was talking. I was gonna let them go first. I was just gonna say, like, just I know David had mentioned Atomic Habits, and I had read it several years ago, but I do think that's really helped me put some consistent systems in place as far as like investing in my health, keeping my, home. I was actually reading this whole thing to my kids tonight, and my son, this is a funny story. He goes, Mom, let's see. Sometimes when we complain about your systems, it's just because it kind of sucks to have to stack all the Tupperware the way you want the Tupperware, stacked. But in the long run, it actually does save us time because everything's where it's supposed to be and we can find it. So he's like, we just like to complain. And I was like, well, thank you for at least saying that. But so I think that the Atomic Habit piece, because like I have, and honestly, there's like, I don't know if anyone's ever used Microsoft To-Do List, but I have like a recurring to-do list that I do in the morning. And it's just kind of to keep me on track, and just invest in myself, but also just kind of do some of those relationship things. I mean, even say like one of my tasks is to invest in others. And then I always make sure like, okay, whose birthday might it be today? Who, like, is there a widow I might need to reach out to? My mother-in-law, she's kind of difficult. So I always write, is it a good day to call your mother-in-law? Like schedule time, maybe if I'm driving or something. So like just like investing in other people. And then I always really try to make sure I do it with my kids. But I think like having that recurrent checklist and kind of making sure you're going through it, it can like, from Miracle Morning stuff, it helps get all those aspects of your life in, that spiritual component, that financial component. And then for financial, I just have like every paycheck, like a recurring to-do list for what I have to do for the financials. Most of it's automatic, but there are some things I can't do automatic because of how I get paid for my personal business. So Yeah, I just think that recurring to-do list is a system that puts in place that automatic makes it for me so I don't have to. And it's exactly what David was talking about is just like, now when I get up in the morning, I just put a load of laundry in. I mean, I used to have like I have 3 kids, so gobs of laundry, and it just is never ending, right? And so I love it because the system makes you always caught up and you never feel behind. Where I lack though, my biggest is like I'm not a big mundane person. I hate email. I hate mail. Just like boring PowerPoints that I have to do. Like I have a presentation I have to do out in California, a national conference, and I literally have to have it due tomorrow. And I'm still doing it because it's just kind of a mundane task that I don't love. So I struggle if anyone has advice on those things, like those systems, like those like kind of like schedule an appointment for this thing. Like it's just, I don't have a good process or system in place to keep track of those. And I've tried several things. It's just hard. And I think it's probably about consistency, but that's what I've had a lot of reflections, sorry, on this whole thing because I
That's
do believe
great.
systems help. And I think to get to the next level, I gotta build some more in. I just am not quite sure how to do that for those boring things that I don't love to do. I like to have fun.
But that's great that you recognize it, you acknowledge it, and you can just ask a better question, right? A higher quality question gets you a better quality answer. And then Shar shows up in the chat there and says, "Eat the frog." And there's a great book, and that's a great title, and that's obviously something that should inspire everybody. So thank you. Love it. Anybody else?
One of the systems I started around the time that
Little louder, Trish. Little louder.
let me see. One of the systems I started when I first read Miracle Morning. I was doing it before, but now I've been doing it more, but real consistently with it is I email myself every day 10 things I'm grateful for. Every morning.
Nice.
And it was
That's a
hard.
system. I love that.
And I really found like, because that's part of my writing, like I want to do more writing, but at least if I do that, I'm writing it. And I email because of my physical condition. If I have it in a journal, I have to go to get the journal and there's excuses. So I just have the phone there. But I found like Miracle Morning, if I can't do everything together and spread it out over the day, depending on my interruptions, I really see that I can't put that off. That's like my medicine. Even when I was working with patients, I would say I was really going to make a pill bottle was gratitude on it. Like nice. Take a gratitude pill because gratitude it attracts miracles. So that's part of my system. And the other change that happened, being an interruption, I thought, oh my gosh, I've got, I don't like to interrupt people necessarily, like call. I don't know if it's a good time to call someone or whatever. But I really started looking at that differently, that the interruptions in my life stretches me and helps me to be more creative. So when I interrupt someone's life, like I did my husband this morning, I could tell he wasn't really pleased. And I went, oh, I interrupted him. That's not a bad thing.
Oh, yeah.
Like it's something for him to grow. Like we just have to live with interruptions. So.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. One more. Anybody else? How many is this would you say the deepest dive you've taken on thinking about your systems, your life systems in some time? Okay. Would you say that if McDonald's didn't have the system at Hamburger U, that you and I would have ever heard of McDonald's? Probably not, right? And it was all about that system. And so in the newsletter, we talk about those examples, right? The business doesn't depend on a star chef, right? It depends on a star system. And so if we can systematize so many of these areas of our life to where we just feel like, hey, I'm in flow. And so I just, for me, the easiest thing to talk about, to write about, to be all in on is the first self-help system outside of the sacred wisdom literature, Ben Franklin, right? The 13 virtues, right? It wasn't just a list. It was a daily self-improvement system that he lived for 64 years. And so then I thought, well, my wife had Covey as a professor in college, and so I had the audio cassettes before it was even a book. And I was emailing back and forth with Ken Shelton today, and we're talking about the 7 habits. Like I today, I began this day with the end in mind, wanting this day to have this crescendo for you, for us, all of us to collaborate. And I think about, well, what's the first one that I lived for the better part of my adult life has woken up to scroll number 2 and the Og Mandino 10 scrolls. I mean, that was his system. It was his way. It was his keynote speech. It was his life. It was everything about, those scrolls. I will greet this day with love in my heart. Muscle can split a shield and even destroy life. Q and I were talking about this the other day. But only the unseen power of love can open the hearts of men and women. And until I master this art, I will remain no more than a peddler in the marketplace. And so that was a system. And then I thought, well, what got me here won't get me there. And the Miracle Morning System, I didn't type in here, but the Miracle Morning System clearly gave me this springboard, this idea, this vibrational shift where literally I wrote it on the back of my newsletter here. And that is, there's a vibrational exchange, right? And when you change, vibration changes. When your positivity, when your stillness and quietness and optimism all harmonize together, and you're a magnet for miracles, and that person just walks in the door, the phone call pops up, you're doing the deep work, you're calling the 2,300, 3,300 people in your phone, you're going to your LinkedIn, you're just like meeting people like crazy. It's just, wow, it's fun. It's all this stuff, right? And then I put down there the 7 affirmations. And so I thought it was interesting on one of the first podcasts that I did, I talked about these 7 affirmations that we put at the top of the book. And, I had to make the decision. What was this order going to be? Well, I am a creator just made sense since that's the first verse in the Bible, right? In the beginning, God created. And you and I get to create our attitudes, our emotions. We get to go press forward on what we're going to create, newsletters and businesses and friendships and all kinds of things. My wife is a great person at creating memories, right? And then I say, well, if we're creating and we're intentional, that's a compound. If we're creating and we're intentional and we're present, we're doing the deep work, that's how you win the morning. You win the morning. And that's a big deal. Most people never win the morning. You're so far ahead of everybody if you invest in you for 18 minutes to win the morning. And then you go to bed at night and you say, I'm so grateful, right? For all the blessings that I have and the people I met and the experiences I had today, good or bad. And so that became my system. And then to get to that I am worthy piece, I've really enjoyed the I am worthy video this week. I've really listened as deeply and as intently and tried to feel the sounds. And that's a 7-minute audio that my daughter was asking, and some of you were asking, is there a shorter version? Well, 18 is a representation of what? Who can tell me what 18 is a representation of? 18 minutes.
It's 1% of the day.
Approximately 1% of the day. Haven't we all got 1% of our day to be intentional and present to then be able to say, I am just as worthy, deserving, and capable as anyone else on the planet. If I systematize my life and my business, I'm going to be highly effective. Covey never liked the word success. He liked the word effective. How effective can we be if we systemize for optimization and ask better questions about all of that? And then I say, I am capable, came to me from Mission Viejo High School, right? A student in the class that I speak at. And then I get to Jude being born. and my 14th grandchild at the time, and I go, wow, there's that verse right out of the book of Jude, right? 122. And some have compassion, making a difference. Wow, that's got to be Ken. I said, Ken, that's got to be number 6. It feels better having that after capable, because capable and compassion feels better than compassion and capable. So it was only flow, how it felt to me. And then, of course, I am a finisher. So if we're going to finish in crescendo style in these last 3 minutes, if you're on page 9 of the newsletter, if you'll look at page 9 on the newsletter, and I think we have 3 slides left. Okay. Hopefully you'll fill that in. Page 9 on the newsletter, your action prompt. Think about the McDonald's model, right? How can you franchise and be a successful part of your life? How can you identify one thing you do well and document these steps? Could you teach it? Covey said, you don't listen to this. Like if you had to go teach this class tomorrow or in the next 48 hours, you'd be devouring this newsletter and these slides, and you'd be all in. There would be no distraction of any sort, because you'd be all in, because you got to teach it. You got to become the expert. And that's what systems is asking you and I to do, to become the expert in simplification. And the famous phrase from my friend, some of you will know the name Erling Schroeder, years ago, simplify so you can electrify, so you can multiply. I love it. That's what makes Miracle Morning so amazing, is how simple the system is. That's what makes William O'Neill's CanSlimInvestors.com financial system so unbelievable, is because it's just an acronym that anybody of average competence can put together. And so this slide right here, the system is designed to defend the system. That's where we're at. If we don't have systems, our life is continually going down the path of the system we've already opted in for. I am sick, I am fat, I am lazy, I am tired. All of the stuff that the masses do that you don't do. We go all in and we ask ourselves a question of, how can I live a fuller life with those 7 affirmations on that coin in that book? Let's go to the next slide. I didn't realize it's our time here. We're at the top of the hour. Scott Adams passed away just 10 days ago or so. And I thought, what a brilliant, I didn't follow Scott Adams. He sold 10, 20 million copies of his books. I don't know how many of you are Scott Adams followers, Dilbert and all the things that he did. That didn't ever really cross my paths, but I saw this list and I thought number 2 is pretty interesting, right? Number 1's pretty powerful, but number 2, he said, losers have goals. And I crossed that out because I don't believe that to be totally true. I think a lot of people have goals and they build systems inside of those goals, and they don't even realize that they're just so intuitive, they're so focused, they're frequency specific to vibrating on the mission and the dream that they just do it. But it starts because more people talk about goals than they do systems. So I like winners have systems. How's that resonate with you? Winners have systems. You can take a picture of that slide if you want. Otherwise, we'll move on. But it's just 10 things that I pulled off with Scott Adams. I like it. I like just learning from everybody's ideas. And so this last quote, Marcy, will you read this highlighted quote on the next slide for us in yellow? If we'll go to the next slide, Shar. There we go. Here we go. Little Scott Adams.
Yes. Let's see. Systems people succeed every time they apply their systems in the sense that they did what they intended to do. The goals people are fighting, the feeling of discouragement at each turn. The systems people are feeling good every time they apply their system. That's a big difference in terms of maintaining your personal energy in the right direction.
I got to tell you, I started this franchise brand in 2010. And I was so excited, and it was a magical first 5 years for me. It was a kind of a superfood acai bowl smoothie location here in Rancho Santa Margarita. By the end of our third year, I mean, we did $760,000 in revenue. It was a community place where everybody could come and feel good, be optimistic, eat healthy food, have the best acai bowl of their life, and be wowed by the whole deal. And my son-in-law, Brandon, as we franchised the model, he could make that acai bowl in record time. And it was something about it. When we sold the franchise, we couldn't get the model to duplicate for simplicity. So we were trying to optimize what should have never been optimized. It should have been one store and one store only because he was that good at it. Instead, we tried to franchise it. We sold all these franchises all the way out to Wisconsin, right? Madison, Wisconsin, to Utah, to Vegas, to here. And long story short, that franchise failed and cost me like hundreds of thousands of dollars. But wow, does this ring true? Because I had the person in Brandon, but we couldn't simplify the model for the masses. So let's go to the next slide. It's just one thing. Let's look at this last slide and ask, who's going to fill in the blank right here? Who's going to give us something rich that you've got out of this hour and say, I am systemizing 2026 by doing what? It's an open floor for the next couple minutes.
Scheduling my day.
Love it. Got to have a system, a scheduler. That'll improve productivity.
I'm redefining retirement. So that's why, it was like I didn't want to do anything. You're like, well, I don't have to. But what do I want to do? What do I want to do? And so that's why this scheduling, it just has to be different than what it was and what it is to get to be, so I can be who I want to be. And that's it almost makes me feel like a kid again. So
yeah. And we never want to retire. We just refire. Right? So no matter what you're retiring from, you refire to something else, and that's a game changer. Anybody else? What do you think you're going to be systematizing 2026 by doing what?
Saying no more often.
Steve Jobs in the house right there. Thank you, Steve. Say no. Just say no.
I'd say making contacts. Or calling contacts, making actual contacts.
Love that.
As Scroll 9 says, I will call on 10, while the failure calls on 1.
There you go. How good is that? I will act now, Og says in scroll number 9. I will act now. I once counted how many times and wrote that down. How many times he says, I will act now?
17.
There you go. Q is on it when it comes to the scrolls. Don't mess with Q.
That's right.
Follow up, Dan.
Follow up. That's incredible.
Follow up. I got pretty good with it in 2025, but 2026 is going to be key.
When we're in sales, what's the average, according to Success Principles by Jack Canfield, we have to ask how many times before the average person makes a decision?
At least 13.
Okay. I thought it was 6, but if it's 13, I'll go with it. Okay.
I was thinking 7.
Okay. It's more than 1, that's for sure, right?
they're saying now with people's short attention spans that it's 30 times. That's what we were learning, that we learned something I learned today. And I was surprised by that. I was like, no way. So I'm not going to be afraid to like reach back out to those people that I haven't reached out to in a bit.
I'm so with you. I'm so with you. I hope you'll fill in newsletter page number 9, your action prompt. Write some things down in there. I am a very liberal person with respect to how I take language in any statement and try to ask myself, could it be changed to an I am affirmation? Like if I look at this book right here, this book has never been perennial seller to me. It is I am a perennial seller. I am a magnet for mirror. Everything I look at, I say, how can I look at that? Okay. Here's another book that I've never even read, but they have a couple pages on I am affirmations on Gary Weber, A Practical Guide to Awakening. And it's happiness beyond thought, but it's I am achieving happiness beyond thought. So I am always looking for the notion, I am my future self. I am having a miracle morning. That is the vibrational energy that I will end this on. And I'm going to end this on, how many of you have ever heard or seen, I mean, I'm sorry to do this to you. I'm just mentioning books like crazy. Okay. You ever seen the Master Key System? Absolutely phenomenal. And in the book, The Secret, he is quoted, Charles Haanel is quoted. And I want to read this to you on how he thought about I am affirmations and what he says in the book, The Secret, about this. He says that basically what I just told you about I am and putting that that out there in the world. He says, knowing this, wouldn't it be a good idea to begin to use the two most powerful words, I am, to your advantage? How about I am receiving every good thing? I am happy. I am abundant. I am healthy. I am loved. I am always on time. Who would like to be more prompt and on time in your meetings, in your calls, your Zooms, whatever you're doing, right? I am on time. I am eternal youth. I am filled with energy every single day. Basically, what he is saying in this Master Key book is that there are words to every challenge we have, every setback. There's words and frames to find the frequency, to find the flow, to become and filter for the highest, best use of your time. And I am convinced that in order to do that, you're going to have to systematize every aspect of your life and give it more time, more thought, more energy. And 2026 will be a year of epic proportions for you all and for us all to be able to come back 1 month from now and hopefully do it again. Thank you all. Good to be with you.
Thank you so much.
I think we can close with this. It was great to see this email from somebody. Thank you for creating this meditation. I start my day with it every day. I keep reading it in health news that's so important. And what's that health news? It's about the value of meditation and taking that time. And that's physician heal thyself. I can be more present for it. Let's go to the last slide there, of course, the newsletter checklist. You guys have it all in the back office. And that is, if you go to that, there you go. So we tried to play the I am audio affirmation tonight. We got to figure better quality on that. You got community access, physical newsletter, masterclass, the videos, the audios, and of course this Zoom class. And then the invitation is on the next page. And I just invite you to go all in. Keep it simple. Same one as last month, right? And then next month, we are scheduled for February 19th, 2026. I look forward to sharing that newsletter with you all, but I hope systems of 2026 will come alive in you between now and then. So God bless you all. I'll take it off mute. Thank you for being here. Have a beautiful evening and a beautiful week. 9 days left in the month. Whatever any of you are on monthly calendars for sales and sales quotas, you can crush this. The next 9 days can be amazing, and you will meet some unbelievable people. I am absolutely convinced of that. Thank you for being here tonight. God bless you.